Spalted wood. It's as close as I can get. I did a small dish that was a piece of a branch off of this same log. And I think I have another piece of it. It's very spalted. It's very pretty. It's got lots of color, lots of things going on with it. There's the pith. It seems to be fine. I will turn probably most of it the way since this is going to be the inside. This is the outside. The bark is very flaky. Doesn't want to stay on, wants to come off. I'm not going to fight with it. It's going to make a basic bowl out of this. Lots of wormholes. Lots of good stuff going on with this. One of the most amazing things is, let me stand out of the way and I'll show you this. I don't know how I did this, but when I put it on, woo, told you the bark would come off. That's 1,000 RPMs, which is pretty good for a piece that big on a lathe this small. It's about 10 inches, but it'll probably end up being about 9 or 8 inches because of the sides here. Getting them around, it's probably gonna be about 8 inches when we're done. Well, let me get suited up and we'll get started on it. So we have a crack, starts here, and looks like it goes to about right here. That means this whole chunk might not make it, which would mean the whole bowl is useless. I think I'm gonna do some super glue work on this and see if I can keep it on there. So far it's been okay because it may not go all the way through, but this is definitely going to be a weak point. So I need to contend with this. So I'm going to do that off camera. sand it up to 320. I'm gonna put sanding sealer on it. It's sanded up pretty nicely, and it actually finished pretty nicely, but it's very punky. There's lots of areas. This light carrier here is really softer. This is softer. This down here is not as soft, but right through here is softer. So I'm not sure how many coats of sanding sealer I'm gonna put on this, but enough that I can sand it a little more and then try to get it a little flatter, I guess is the word. It's smooth, but it's not necessarily flat because of the way the wood is sanding. Even though I've used, instead of using a pad, I use just the flat sander to try to keep it from doing that quite as much. But it's very pretty. It's a pretty piece of wood. I've got to get me some gloves. But yeah, this is soaking right up all throughout here. It just wants to go right in and stay in. And let's see here. There's more. So we gouged there. Came apart here. I know. It must have caught, but this is. There's the only little place right there, and that's not rough. It's not really that rough. I'm not sure. I was pushing in, but it just, this, as you can see, this is really punky, and that probably translated here a little bit. This is really flaky, just wants to flake off. So maybe this just wasn't, this I know was weak because this is that lighter color wood. Sorry, can't say it. This is the lighter color wood, and it's not working. It just pulled off, and then that pulled off, and this is another area where this was really very punky when I was filling it. There's another spot there where it hit the ground. Yep. Broke off here. No real way to get it back on. I guess I could push it up against this and do something with the bottom again, but no, I don't think so. Not at this point. We'll set it aside. I'm getting quite a collection here. Every time I turn this video on, I've done 4 or 5 things without videoing them. And every time I turn the video on, this is the 3rd one in a row that with the video on, I've done something stupid. So guess we'll keep going and see what we can do. Find another piece of wood, even though this is very pretty on the outside. It's a shame. I just have to be more patient and start trying to go a lot slower. This wormhole thing was going to turn out weird. Alrighty. Well, folks, I appreciate you watching. And if you want to like and leave a comment, always respond to comments. And if you would like to subscribe, please do. We're gonna put that away for now, and I'll dig through the wood pile and find something else to turn. Bye-bye. We're gonna go with test my patience. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this yet. I'll probably just resurface this. I've got it back on. No, I did not glue anything back on there. I might should have, but the way I've got it situated on the jaws, they're all for touching something. So I'm gonna see if I can patiently hollow this out without being an idiot. I won't be surprised if it comes off again. It's not held on by much, but if I'm cautious, maybe I can do something with it. So here we go. We're gonna give this a try. And now the piece I was hanging on to is gone. Oh well, I'll think about it, see what I'm gonna do. Not sure what to say, except for this has been quite the round robin. I got mad at myself and I found all the pieces that were part of the mortise, glued them back in, not very well, but glued them back in. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the bottom when I'm done with this because it's a mess. I can't leave those there. I can't part it off because it'll just come flying off. So what I'll probably end up doing is putting it on my belt sander and trying to sand this down. I have to sand about a 1/4 inch off the bottom to get it smooth. That probably means I'm going to lose my tenon as well, or my hole for my emblem. But we'll see what we're going to do. Right now, it's sanded up to 300 or 320, and I'm going to put some sanding sealer back on it. I had to do the outside again, just because it was no longer after I fooled with it, it was no longer in shape. So, and round. So now I have to go back and do that. Had to go back and do that again as well. I don't think I showed that, but we'll put some sanding sealer on it. We'll do several coats of this, let it dry, do some final sanding, and then do some Axe abrasive paste, and we'll go from there. Well, it's off the lathe. It's turned. Good dimensions on the inside and outside. It's about just a tick under 8 inches wide and about 3 inches, a little over 3 inches tall. You've been along with the ride for me. I do have a couple of questions for some of my turning friends out there. I can't get this to finish evenly. I've got some spots that are real glossy, some spots that are dull, completely dull, and some that have kind of a matte finish, which is what I actually go for. The process with sanding sealer, several coats. This is very punky wood. Then I finish sanded it after the sanding sealer to try to even everything up to 600. And then I applied the Axe abrasive paste. And upon doing that, it gave me some spots that were really shiny and some spots that are, for the most part, it's pretty even. It's exactly what I want. But I've got some spots that are really shiny, and I've got some spots on the inside that are a little duller than I would like to have. And I applied so even after I did that, I went down, sanded it again to 600, reapplied the Axe, and reapplied the sanding sealer, and I still have a couple of spots in here that are shinier than I'd like, and still some spots that are duller than I would like. If you've got any solutions to that, let me know. It's just something I don't know, or I'm missing in a step or something like that. Anyway, it did get finished up. I had to sand the bottom, and I was able to sand it flat and still keep my little ring that I put my emblem in. I wouldn't have been able to use a Forstner bit on this. I'd have drilled right through this because this is this is about, probably a little less than a 1/4 inch, probably somewhere around 3/16 or 3/8, something. Well, never mind. Forget, I don't know how to do fractions. It's a little less than a 1/4 inch. It sits good, everything's fine. I just wish I could have gotten the finish a little more perfect on it. It's one of the things I've been working on, trying different finishes and things. So if you got anything for me, let me know. Did finish out very nice. I like the wood. It wasn't as wormy as I thought it was going to be, which turned out pretty nice. There's some worm tracks inside and outside. I filled them with super glue because I figured I'd leave them, and I wanted to finish this out a little nicer, so I didn't want the worm tracks to show as much. I actually have a couple of worm tracks that I finished with black CA that the dirt had come out of them, or the feces, whatever it was they have. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you stopping by. Please leave a comment, like, share, and please subscribe. Until next time, keep turning.